Hello, today is the 10th of June, 2023. As always, we'll do our disclaimer, go over our calls, and make some predictions. So my trading plan for Monday, which is June 12th, 2023. Please remember, I can be wrong. All trades should be made at your own risk. I have more personal business next week. I'm going to try to do as good a job as I can to analyze things, but I just don't have as much time as I normally have. However, we do have more help from David. He's been kind enough to give us his analysis of the present situation. Type this out. It's all free. He's a great analyst. Look for the market to have the early high on Friday, and that's this, and Monday should also have the early high. We had a lower target, 42.74.68. We said unless we gapped up smartly, it should print. We gapped up smartly, so that was off the table from before the open, but it still should print at some time. This is a reminder of what we said. We had a lower target, so unless we gap up smartly, it should print. We had mixed signals rules. The commonest thing was a gap and a prompt move outside Thursday's range. We got that. Next most common is to close little change and big move the next day. Close little change I define as 0.25%. We closed 0.11%, so we got that too. And all we need to complete the picture is to have a big move on Monday, which I'm expecting. These are the daily patterns I think we'll see next week. This pattern normally closes near its high, and if it doesn't, it leads to a straight line drop and further weakness. Now we had a straight line drop, that should lead to further weakness. The one thing that would kill the idea is if we gap and promptly overtake this high, and of course nothing's impossible. But so far we're playing out the failed normal pattern, and it should lead to lower prices. And of course, if we're going to gap and take this out, you'll know that before the open. Shouldn't have to risk any money. During the day, MEJT gave an ultimate buy signal. The target's poorly defined when it's given. When it's poorly defined, all you have to do is hit a new high of the day, which we did. So we got the minimum target immediately. You don't have to get more than the minimum. You almost always do, but almost always and always isn't not the same thing. It was an optional lower target. We certainly got that. In the afternoon, we got another ultimate buy signal that played out. The move was called false. It was called to retrace, and that's played out as well. Well, here's the latest trend line we've banged our head up on. You start from way over here. Not the best trend line in the world, but I'm going to count it. Either you gap over this line or the line wins, which means any break over the line without the gap probably isn't going to stick. I don't think this is the easiest count in the world. I was counting this as 1 with the leading diagonal triangle. I was counting this as A, and I was waiting for wave blue B to end so I get my blue C and get a chance to buy. I just never got it. Now maybe it'll still come. Nothing's impossible. But we have to at least entertain the possibility that we've had this ABC and that completed wave 2 and I just didn't recognize it. Doesn't break any rules. Now we do have 5 waves up. We don't know what the degree is and don't even know if that's the right count. But if it is the right count, this low should hold, and that low is 4103.98. Now that's still almost 200 handles, but if that's the right count, that's your risk on the downside. If this is one, there could be a pretty big drop, but then we get wave 3 up, and that's going to be a wave 3 of multiple degree if this is the right count. And that should be a huge rally. We did break over this trend line by gapping over it, so it counts. That's a valid break as long as it's confirmed. Confirmation is to trade over Friday's closed by 1 cent, but of course if you gap down, that break doesn't count. And I don't think gapping down is impossible. This is a negative pattern, unless we gap up. You're dropping on Friday. Almost always you're going to follow through at Monday's open. And if you follow through at Monday's open and gap down and you don't fill the gap, the break over that trend line doesn't count. And that we're not going to know until Monday, but at least it's possible. Well, Monday's market has the early high. We still might gap down. We broke through strong resistance Friday. Need only trade 1 cent over the close to confirm. I'm just not certain that's going to happen. Friday's pattern typically is a rally day, and when it isn't, we think we'll see more weakness. Time doesn't run out until early Monday, so we could still confirm it. But the drop into the close usually follows through at Monday's open. Sentiment indicators are a screaming sell here. They're compatible with the top. And even though these aren't precise in their timing, it shouldn't be too long before they do their thing. Now after Friday close, little change. One normally sees a big move the following day. It would be ideal for me if such a move started by gapping down. And if that happens, if we start by gapping down, I think any drop should be tradable. We could trade almost 200 points lower without killing my idea. But it should be limited in terms of time and price. I don't think we'll get more than that. If we don't gap down smartly, I don't really have a good trading plan for Monday. The wave count's compatible with us having completed 5 waves up on a small time scale, but the degree isn't clear. Even the count isn't really clear to me. I'm not claiming that's the only count. It'd be nice if it were the right count, but I can't be certain of that. So we had this big explosion. We couldn't hold it. This close is under these highs, so the whole thing could be a big false move, something called a Trader Vic 2B top. This is the daily bar, which closed over the prior high. You trade under the low of the bar, which closed over the high. That completes a Trader Vic 2B sell signal. So if we do start down, and if we trade under this low, which was what, 42.91.70, that should complete at least a short-term top and gives credence to the wave count that we showed. So it's a pattern with the early high, but there's a good chance, at least, not a guarantee, that we start down and keep dropping. And that's today's call.